And in the season finale, we fast forward 28 days where Corey took that EPA report he found and he just put it in a safe. He didn't mention it to anybody. He's still sleeping with Celine. Meanwhile, you've got Bradley still in a Russian gulag with no hope of really getting out, and Alex still trying to keep this story in the front page news to try to put pressure on the U.S. government to get her out, which is becoming more and more of an issue. Every day that goes by, it's becoming harder to do so. But Alex and Chip did get a piece of good news. Chip was able to get the EPA report from the EPA regarding Wolf River and Martel Chemical, and as he's perusing it, he's noticing something really interesting. That's the fact that it was clearly doctored. When he matches things up, it doesn't match up at all. So now it's got him thinking that maybe if they can expose this story for what it is, a cover-up at the EPA, that could put Bradley firmly back in the news because it is her story, and they will have to bring her back. But they also need more proof of this. As Chip and Alex start talking about where they could possibly get this proof, they remember that Bradley had mentioned something with Corey and the EPA, so Chip decides to go pay him a visit on his studio lot, and he's stressed out. The studio is dealing with graphics problem, and he doesn't really have time to deal with Chip, but Chip shows up, they get right to it at the behest of Corey, and Chip tells him that he wants him to look over the EPA report, maybe something will jog his memory a bit, but Corey doesn't really want to do that. Corey has no interest in helping Bradley out because Corey is still really upset about what Bradley did. He viewed it as her backstabbing him to get information on this whole Wolf River situation. And Chip is kind of gobsmacked by this. He's like, dude, come on. She's in a Russian gulag right now with no hope, and you could be that hope. But at this moment, Corey is just cold. Either way, Chip does give him the new EPA report that he has, not aware of the fact that Corey has the actual EPA report. And he just says, hey, man, look it over and see if something jogs your memory. And by the way, for what it's worth, she was really broken up about what to do with your relationship. I mean, everything that happened with you two was real. So it kind of gets the best of him a little bit. He gets guilt-tripped into it, and that night he decides to look over the EPA report that was given to him by Chip and the EPA report that was given to him by his mother on her deathbed. And when he looks it over, yeah, it doesn't add up at all. I mean, the numbers are clearly deflated to help out Martel Chemical and Wolf River. At this, Corey can't even sleep that night. He's just sitting on the couch when Celine, who was sleeping over, wakes up, notices he's not there, goes in the living room and says, yo, what's going on? He says to her, your family must have had a financial interest in Martel since you paid Fred to bury the story. I mean, Bradley was getting close to something, and now not even the Red Cross can get in to look at her. Celine denies any wrongdoing in this, and Corey says, great, well, your family can help her get out. And you know what? I think I can help your family. I have the real EPA report. And if your family makes the phone call and gets her home, then I'll give it to you guys, and you guys can do whatever you want with it. You can bury it for all I care. Now, keep in mind, my EPA report proves that Martel is liable for everything that happened to those people, so this is a pretty good offer. And still, Celine denies any wrongdoing. She claims that her family can't wave a magic wand, but also says, you know what, I'll make a call and I'll do it for you. The two then head back to bed, but Celine is unaware that there is a wrecking ball headed her way the next day. Because at the studio that day, Ben had approached Mia regarding somebody getting access to the AI tech that they weren't supposed to get access to. He doesn't know who it was, but clearly someone tried to access it and they were able to do so successfully, and he wants Mia to look into it. Initially, Mia doesn't want to, but Ben reminds her, hey, this was on your watch, so she does so. She finds the one person, or at least his username, she circles it, she messages him privately and says, hey, we need to meet. And then she finds out who this person was. It was one of the producers for the morning show. When the Iranian defection happened, he was producing the show that day. He was able to access the AI tech. More importantly, he was able to access Alex's AI. And considering there was a very damning deepfake made of Alex, smoking gun leads to this particular producer. And Mia says, what happened? I'll keep you out of it. And what happened was Celine had put him up to this. Celine trying to push Alex out of UBN. But once everything happened with Stella and the whole Bradley situation, it put Alex and the whole deepfake thing to the wayside. But when Mia tells Alex in the middle of the night what actually happened, Alex comes into the office that day fuming. She is pissed off, looking for blood. She goes right at Celine, demanding that Celine turn in her resignation because pretty clear that all that sisterhood crap was just that. It was crap. But Celine shocks her by saying, no, I'm not resigning. You are. That little meeting that you had at the opera trying to launder tech to get Bradley back, that's not in the best interest of shareholders. It's borderline illegal. Yeah, so no, you're actually going to resign. And at that, Alex has nothing to say. She can't believe that Celine knows about the meeting. With nowhere else to turn, she goes to Paul Marks' apartment to just vent and discuss their next move. By the way, the newly single Paul Marks. Worth mentioning that. And Paul is as shocked as Alex is regarding Celine knowing about their meeting. But Paul also tells her, hey, you took me down. I think you can take her down as well. You just have to find the information. Find something on her. Because if she knows about our meeting, she was doing some backdoor shady deals to find out about that meeting. So you just have to find somebody that knows her really well. And to that, Alex has the right person. It's Corey. So she heads right from Paul Marks' apartment to Corey's apartment, bursting in and saying, hey, we need to talk. She's trying to rush me out. And then all of a sudden, as Corey, by the way, is trying to get her attention, saying, hey, we need to do this another time, Celine walks in. And then it all clicks for Alex. It's over. Her one great last hope, Corey, is sleeping with the woman who's trying to push her out. She was on borrowed time anyway. So the next morning, she shocks the world by announcing that she is leaving UBN. With Alex out and Stella out, it looks like Celine has won. She's flying high as she leaves the office that day. She goes home, and she's a little surprised because there's a visitor waiting for her. It's Miles. Now, Miles had come back, and he was ready to talk things over, but before he did, he decided to stop at his studio, where he found the vial of cocaine. And he knew that his wife wasn't going to do cocaine by herself, so it begged the question, who were you doing it with? And eventually she owned up to the fact that it was Corey. So a very angry Miles pays Corey a visit in his apartment, and they get right into it. Miles saying, you were a puppet all along, man. And Corey trying to act like he wasn't, saying, oh, if you're talking about Wolf River, I know all about it. But Miles tells him, no, you don't. And that's when Miles really pulls the curtain back on everything that happened. Corey thought that his mother was a whistleblower, but Miles says, no, your mother wasn't a whistleblower, Corey. She was in charge of burying the story for Wolf River. And she did it because you were out in LA spiraling and Celine needed help. So Celine went to your mother at that event and promised her that if she gave you a big fancy promotion in New York, the head of news, then in turn, she would bury the story. And she made it look like you earned this, the boy wonder, but you didn't. Nah, you've been played this entire time, not just by Celine, but by your mother as well. And then Miles leaves, leaving Corey aghast. Now, not too far away, Alex was also dealing with what happened that day, resigning from UBN. The first visitor she got was surprisingly her father. And after he attempted to just be a dad and listen and understanding the fact that her entire life was UBN, he decided to get proactive. That night, Alex met with Chip and her dad to discuss the next steps, and what they decided on doing was suing Celine and UBN for wrongful termination. Now, this is very risky. It would break Alex's NDA, and as Chip reminds her, hey, the last person that tried to go after this Wolf River story, that lawyer ended up dead, so are you sure you want to do this? But her dad is adamant. This is the right move. It's the proactive move. They'll have to release some files, and maybe you'll find a smoking gun. So they plan a press conference the next day that will tell the world why she did what she did, resigning, and the impending lawsuit regarding Celine and UBN. And that next morning, as the morning show is going on with their regular scheduled programming, Mia gets a text from Chip saying, we're live. She knew all about this. And she says, hey, did anyone know about this? I mean, look, Alex is live at the courthouse. So they pull it up on one of the monitors and they start watching it, and they are shocked to hear the allegations that Alex is spewing regarding their boss. That's when Ben storms in and says, hey, did anyone know about this? And everybody plays dumb. Oh, no, we had no idea. But Ben is in full panic mode. He calls up Celine, who had no idea this was going on, and he says, yeah, she's suing us, and she's down in the courthouse, and there are a bunch of cameras rolling. Like, what do you want me to do? Because Ben's the head of news. It's his call to put the Alex Levy presser on the news. And Celine, no shock, says, yeah, don't put it on. Just go with the regular scheduled stuff. So Ben walks back into the newsroom. He tells everybody, we're just going to go with the regular scheduled stuff. She's attacking Celine and the network, and it's just not a good look. And Mia looks at him, shocked, and says, Ben, this is news. Other stations are covering this. And by the way, not for nothing, but this is going to blow back on you. You do realize that. It's going to look really bad for you. And to that, Ben actually listens. He gives the nod, saying, okay, yeah, no, put it on the air. You're right. So they do. But floors up, you've got Celine about to leave, thinking that she had squashed this, at least for the time being, when she gets a shocking phone call from her brother saying, yeah, you really messed up because Alex is accusing us of all this Wolf River stuff, and she's doing so on your network. And that's when a very surprised Celine turns on the TV to shockingly find Alex Levy on UBN. They're covering it. Celine calls her confidant, Corey, at this point, demanding that he get to the courthouse, shut this thing down. And Corey's like, no, I'm on my way. Don't worry. Celine wants Corey to be the kind of muscle threatening Alex and whoever else she's with that if they don't stop this, Bradley's never coming back. And at this point, Celine is literally screaming in the phone, I will keep Bradley in that gulag forever. But as she's doing this, she notices there's an echo. And then she turns around to notice that Alex Levy is holding up Corey's phone to the microphones. Everything that Celine had just said about keeping Bradley in Belarus forever was just broadcast out. And that begs the question, what exactly is Celine covering up? Why would she want Bradley in Belarus forever? It's not a good look at all. And all of this happened because after Miles' little visit to Corey, he did some soul searching. That morning, he had a phone call regarding Alex's impromptu presser, and he headed over to Alex's building to discuss the plan. And at first, they get into it, but he says, no, you don't understand. You're not going to win. You need to catch her by surprise. I can help. And they orchestrated this trap for Celine, which worked. It's a shocking revelation. I mean, everybody in UBN is surprised. Celine tries to get out of there, but she's not able to, at least not before security and Ben catch up to her. And she resigns. The board is going to have to find a new CEO, but for the time being, it is going to be in the hands of Mia and Ben. The relationship seems to be a hell of a lot better than what it was, by the way, and Mia has her eyes set on running the whole damn thing. And because Celine has a very powerful family, there's probably nothing that's going to happen to her. She gets on a plane with her brother, she leaves back for Paris, she writes Miles a goodbye note, and that's it. But for Alex, the whole thing was getting Bradley back, and she finally gets her wish. Paul Marks is going to facilitate a jet. He is worried about her getting back to the country. But when Alex heads over to Belarus and she finally is reunited with Bradley, she is so relieved. She apologizes, but she tells Bradley, your story did it. You changed everything. And Bradley, who had no idea about any of this, is like, what, really? And Alex says, yeah, no, you did. Let's get you home. And that's the end of Season 4 of The Morning Show. Thank you so much for getting the support of the recap. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I have a Patreon if you want to do that, or you could just become a channel member just to support. That'd be cool. I have merch like t-shirts and a mug. Hey, Christmas is coming up. Who doesn't want a mug that says the recaps? Everybody wants a mug that says the recaps. Let me know what you thought in the comment section regarding this season, what you liked, what you didn't. And don't worry, I'll be back for Season 5.